One of the big topics of conversation today on social media surrounding the Suns is Cam Payne.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Payne, there was a rumor that maybe he was going to be traded for TJ McConnell. We shot that down, as did Gambo as well. But Cam Payne dropped a tweet on us today, a few minutes before the show started, that just said, "Welp, let's get to it," with a 100% emoji.
He also followed that up with a McHale eyeball emoji at McHale Bridges.
Ooh, so we saying Brooklyn?
We might be saying Brooklyn.
Is he gonna next? He's gonna be like, "Hey, Devon Wade, can you get me a house in Brooklyn?" Like, is that the next tweet?
So who's in Brooklyn? Let's take a look, huh?
So who's
Cam
in
Johnson.
Brooklyn for around
I was
that
gonna say.
amount?
Like,
not a whole lot.
Look, this could be. I mean, think about it.
It's probably a 3-team trade if it was going to be one.
Let's connect the dots here.
Mm-hmm.
Bull. They've been talking about signing him. For some reason, there's been a delay.
Mm.
You have 15 guys on the roster right now. Could this be some kind of move where somebody takes Cam in? Does Brooklyn have cap space to do this, and the Suns get a second-round pick from somebody, or Brooklyn sends somebody for cap space? Like, I feel like this may be where we're headed. Like, I would not act as if this is going to bring in some other major piece for the Suns, is my thinking here.
Yeah, that's a hell of a roll of the dice on Jordan Goodwin, I'll be honest, if they're going to trade Cam Payne just for nothing. I would assume probably like second-round picks or something, if that were the case. I'm trying to load the Brooklyn Nets cap situation to see if they even have the ability to take on his contract for that little. They're at $155 million in active roster cap, so they're already above the salary cap. So unless they have an exception that I am looking for here.
You bring up exception, though. That's interesting because the Suns do have their $5 million exception. So are they allowed to trade that with Cam?
They have. So they do have their $18 million trade exception from the Kevin Durant trade, if this is correct on Spot Track. So
they could absorb some of it.
Lonnie Walker just signed with them, right? So he was not eligible to be traded.
Correct.
Not yet, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because he's the only one salary cap-wise that's even in the ballpark. So, yeah, I would say it would have to be a 3-team trade.
I just don't expect some kind of big return on this. And are you really going to get a point guard trading a point? The stuff isn't connecting here for me. I think they really like Jordan Goodwin is what I'm imagining here. And they see him as fitting more in that backup role as a defensive minded guy, and that they are very committed to Book and Beal being the main ball handlers on this team.
It's all good until one of them is out.
Right.
Yeah,
then you don't have a backup plan. Jordan Goodwin's not a good backup plan. He's just not.
I don't think, let's be honest, I don't think Cam Payne's the greatest backup plan there either.
He's a better point guard than, in terms of setting up the offense and getting into that flow than Jordan Goodwin. Jordan Goodwin defensively, yeah, no doubt. But I watched him in Summer League, and I'm telling you, like, there's
Have you watched Cam Payne? There's a reason they moved him off the ball a lot. He's not your traditional point guard that's going to be setting up an offense. And let's be honest, they don't have a guy on the entire roster that's that traditional guy. So
I disagree with that to a certain degree, because Cam Payne did a suitable job of running that offense when he was in the lineup. And when he's clicking, that's the problem, is when he's not hitting his shots, then, him being a facilitator only is not good enough. That's the problem. Now, that doesn't mean he was inadequate as a facilitator. It's just he's not providing much of anything else. And so that's where I'm like, with Jordan Goodwin, I don't even know if you could even say that facilitating would be his thing anyway. Like, he's a good defensive player. He can get a couple shots here and there. We saw him in Summer League, but I didn't look at him one time during Summer League in these games and be like, yeah, he could run the backup point. Not even a little bit.
Well, he's a good passer. He's a pretty good passer. I wrote about this last week for anybody that's interested in learning more about his game. So he can play make. We only got to see him for like half of a Summer League game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is riskier to trust your backup point guard role to a third-year player. Again, we don't know if they're just trying to trade Cam Payne to get rid of him, or if they were targeting a player in return for him. We just don't know at this point.